So here is a doctor who, in simple terms, explains what the autopsy is all about. Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If it's your first time here, a special welcome to you. My name is Casey and you're here on Casey Vlogs. So 2 days ago, Mohbad's body was exhumed for an autopsy to be conducted. Or is it 3 days ago? I don't know. But I think it's about 3 days ago that his body was exhumed for an autopsy to be conducted to know what actually happened to him. You know, his death goes with a lot of controversy, a lot of story, a lot of people being involved, a lot of investigation are still going on as I speak. And here is a doctor explaining in simple terms and in detail what an autopsy is all about. So I want you to watch this video to the end. Okay, let's listen to the doctor.
So what exactly is an autopsy? What does it consist of? I am Dr. Wolf. I am a forensic pathologist, and I'm going to talk about autopsy today to basically alleviate maybe some misconceptions and kind of talk about what the procedure really is. Now, I thought to do this because in the last 2 or 3 days, I've gotten thousands of followers from Africa, specifically Nigeria, who have commented many times on my posts about performing autopsies because there is a very popular rapper there named Mohbad, and I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but he died, and there's some questions around his death. So I've had people ask me about autopsy, but I've also had a lot of people say that we're sad that he has to suffer, that he has to go through this. This is terrible. And I want to say that I don't really see it as a procedure of suffering. And so I want to explain exactly what happens without too much detail. What is an autopsy? So autopsies can come in different forms. The first is really what's called an external examination, where you don't even open the body. You just look at the body, you describe it, you describe things that are like identifying features such as eye color, hair length, presence of tattoos or piercings, the clothing they were wearing, and any presence of injury. And then a lot of times, most times, you will also draw toxicology. What that means is you take fluid from the eyes, sometimes the vitreous fluid, you'll draw blood and maybe even urine, and you send that to a toxicology company to see if they can find any substances in there that shouldn't be there. All autopsies have the external exam portion, regardless of how much more you do after that. And during that portion, usually there are photographs taken for the record to document the evidence. Now, at that point, you can choose to do a partial autopsy or a full autopsy. So a partial autopsy is one that is focused on a certain area of the body. So very commonly what I might see is somebody who, let's say they come to the ER in chest pain, they die, and we know that the cause of death is most likely in the chest. It's going to be related to the heart, the blood vessels, or the lungs typically. So sometimes we can do it as a partial, particularly if there is a strong objection by the family to continue to do more. Okay, but for the most part, a partial will be chest or chest and abdomen organs, or sometimes it can be just the head if the cause of death is apparently just in the head. Now, those would be partial autopsies. Those are not as common as the full autopsy. The full autopsy is the surgical portion of the exam. So an examination involving organs of the head, neck, chest, abdomen, and pelvis, and any other area of the body that needs to be looked at in order to arrive at the cause of death. So ultimately, the goal of the pathologist is to arrive at the cause of death. And the cause of death is a specific diagnosis. So that would be something like heart attack, pulmonary embolism, ruptured brain aneurysm. It would be like something like electrocution or drowning or a gunshot wound or a stab wound or poisoning. So those are all specifics. But we also have to assign the manner of death. And the manner of death is a category. So that can be one of 5 things. In the United States, we usually have 5. There's sometimes a 6th category. But we have accidental deaths, natural deaths, suicide, homicide, and then when no manner can be settled upon, there is an undetermined category. There's also in some states a sixth category, which is deaths occurring during a medical procedure or due to therapy, that type of thing. That's not one that is in my state, so I don't use that. But that is the main way that we categorize those. So what exactly are the concerns for people who are objecting to autopsy? So the main objection is a religious one usually, and that those individuals, either it is dictated by their religion to not touch the body, or it is simply viewed as a type of desecration. But that's, I think, because there is some misconception about what we do. What we do is actually quite precise. It is surgical, and it is done in a way that is meant to preserve the integrity of the body, but when we have to do the examination. I mean, I would prefer that nobody have to have one. But there are times when the autopsy is necessary. It is a process of discovery. So you have to understand that the autopsy is sometimes the only way that we can discover what happened. And so to have a licensed medical professional do that it is the best possible way to determine how someone died. Now, when it comes to religious beliefs, I personally, in my practice, I respect the wishes of those religious beliefs, but sometimes the law does override that in terms of if you have a case that is a murder case or a potential murder case, you can't simply object to autopsy. It has to be done in order to confirm the details of that. But for the most part, we do try to not do autopsies if we don't, if the family doesn't want it. Now, some of the comments, and I hear these comments here. This is not just from my African followers. Now, these are comments that I hear in the middle of the United States, and that is, we don't want an autopsy done because it will affect the person's soul, or it will affect some transition to the afterlife. And what I say to that is, someone a long time ago that was teaching me forensic pathology, and actually quite a religious person too, her perspective was that if you don't believe in a soul, in an afterlife or anything, then there is nothing to be concerned with the autopsy. If you do believe in a soul or an afterlife, that soul is gone and has moved on into the next realm, and what is left behind is merely the anatomy. And so I liked that perspective because it's not a desecration. I mean, again, I would prefer not to do an autopsy if I don't have to, but sometimes we're left with that as the only choice. So in summary, I just want to say that the autopsy itself is a surgical procedure and a medical review of a death that, while not ideal, is not a desecration. And I hope that the video maybe helped explain some elements of it to maybe allay some concerns that you might have. And as I recently posted, please understand that not everybody gets an autopsy. A minority of deaths actually get autopsied, okay? Sudden and unexpected death or death involving a criminal element are the two main reasons why people get autopsied. And it's not a form of suffering for the body, again, because either there is no soul or the soul has moved on. So there's no suffering there. But what it does is it relieves the suffering of those who are left behind, because then they, in most cases, are able to get an answer on what happened.
So guys, this is the end of the video, and I believe you learned something from what this doctor just explained to we Africans, especially Nigerians that went to his DM requesting for requesting for him to make a video concerning an autopsy. This doctor is not a Nigerian, he's not even an African. Cool person, a medical practitioner who is also a content creator on Instagram. He was requested by Nigerians to explain more on autopsy, and that is why I'm bringing the video to your notice for you to watch and also understand the meaning of autopsy, because I think maybe some people are hearing the word for the first time, autopsy, going with the controversy of Mohbad's death, So this is just a video to enlighten us on what autopsy is all about, and I believe you heard from the doctor and you understand that. And for those of you who are expecting autopsy result of Mohbad, trust me, once the autopsy result is out, I'm going to put it here on my channel, and you're going to know everything about it. Just trust me on that. I'm bringing it down here, okay? So this is the end of this video. Thank you for watching to this very end. My name is Casey, and don't forget to like this video. It is only when you like this video that YouTube is going to suggest it for other people to watch, okay? I want the recommendation. Please like this video, subscribe, and I will see you guys on my next one. So bye.